The topic for tonight is what I wish I knew about cookie cutter mobility programs before I got started, right? I'm just like you guys, even before grad school, I was buying all these programs, right, that range from like anywhere from $50 to $100, trying all these different techniques, seeing what one person did, comparing myself to them, and then trying it and not being able to do it, getting depressed and then dropping off, maybe even getting injured sometimes. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday night. Welcome weightlifters. If you're new, welcome to the channel, right? We do a Facebook Live every Wednesday, which gets put on our YouTube channel as well. So if you have any questions on that, post them down in the comments below, like and subscribe as well. I am Dr. Hoffner. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, as well as strength and conditioning specialist and past personal trainer. So what are we going to talk about tonight? So we're going to talk about why to start. And there's 3 reasons why the cookie cutter or generic programs for mobility can be a bad thing and kind of waste your time. Okay. Number 1 is, people have this like shiny object syndrome where they go on Instagram, right? They go on YouTube, they go on Google, they go through all these search engines and they look for these exercises and they're like, oh, this looks amazing. Like, this guy's in shape, he's doing this. And he might have no credibility or no background. He might just be a freak athlete or something. Then you go and try and do it and you get hurt. Right? And then you get skilled even further back. So now it's going to take you twice as long to get your goals and you're not going to be able to lift in the meantime, right? So you're prolonging yourself even more, adding to that time capsule, right? And the other thing is, like, a lot of times this is not right for you and your body. Like, you need to find something that's specific. There's something called the principle of specificity, and that is so, so important. It gets touched on in school a lot. And all that means is, like, you need to pick the mobility exercises that are specific to address your deficits and your weaknesses, right? So say you're a power lifter, right? You have to train bench press, you have to train deadlifts, and you have to train as well squats, right? Barbell back squats. So those are your big 3, right? So for mobility, you should be working on exercises that get you into those ranges of motion that you use in those things, right? So for instance, a lot of people have tight hamstrings, so we do so much sitting. So you got to really work on stretching your hamstrings and work on mobility and strength in those lengthened ranges too. And that's going to make it easier to get that pull out of the bottom of the repetition, right? When you get that initial lift off, because it's going to help lengthen your hamstrings more and can help you keep a neutral spine. For the chest press, right, at the bottom, you got to have good shoulder stability as well to make sure your shoulders don't roll forward, especially when you're pressing. So you have to have strong rotator cuffs on both sides for stability purposes. But you also need to have good thoracic mobility to be able to get your shoulders back, and also good pec length, right? Otherwise, you're going to have trouble at the bottom there, right? Unless you have very short arms, then it might be a little bit easier, but that's another story for another day. All right, so that's number 1, right? Too generic, not a good thing. You want something more specific. All right, number 2 is inconsistency, right? So a lot of people spend, like I said, $50 to $100 on these mobility programs, and it just makes them inconsistent, because I always tell people the less you pay, the less you stay, right? Because if you have no skin in the game, you're more unlikely to do it and stick with it, right? You're gonna keep trying different things probably. You're gonna put it off because it's not as important to you. Whereas if you spend more money on it, or you invest in like a coach and you get accurately assessed, and then you get a specific program that's right to you and your body and to your goals that actually links the 2 together, then you're gonna be more likely to do it. So inconsistency is number 2. And then number 3 is time. You're going to be wasting a lot of time with this. And I know, guys, because I've been through this and I've talked to so many clients that I've brought on over the last 2 years who have said the same thing. They're like, oh, I wish I found you a year ago. Because I help them get from point A to point B. So I help them to get to their goals a little bit quicker. And then the other thing is that I help them as well, like teach them and educate them on like why they need to do this movement over the other movement. Right? Because sometimes it's too hard for them. They got to regress a little bit and then work their way up to the harder version, or vice versa. Sometimes it's too easy and they don't have someone telling them like, you're really not getting any benefit out of this stretch or this exercise. You need to actually like kind of challenge yourself a little bit more if you want to get to your goals. So that's so important. Okay. So why are these things important? Or let's think about like how, or kind of, what makes a good mobility program. So what I suggest in terms of mobility and finding the right things for you is like find a good physical therapist, right? Find a good chiropractor, or find a good medical doctor if you want to go that route. Maybe you have like a lot of pain and pinching or something in your shoulder and you want to get an x-ray or an MRI just to make sure nothing's wrong. By all means do that if you want to, and that makes you feel better. But I recommend getting an evaluation, right? We call them an initial evaluation or mobility screen, and then also, or even a movement screen, right? Because that's going to tell you all of your deficits. It's going to break things down so you know exactly what's going on and you understand, right? And then you got to see someone for a follow-up to understand and kind of learn how to address those things, right? So if you learn how to address those things, you're going to save time, you're going to be more consistent, and then you're not going to be on YouTube, Facebook, and Google again, which is going to take even more time from you. All right, so that's number one on like what you should do instead. The other thing is you want to get a coach, right? Get a mobility coach, get a physical therapist, use your CrossFit coach, use your gym coach or personal trainer. Have someone to hold you accountable and set those goals for you and keep those goals. And what helps, guys, is if you set a punishment for yourself, or you have your coach set a punishment if you don't hit your goals or something, or if you kind of slack off and you don't actually do what you're supposed to do. Because that's going to keep you accountable to make you kind of more likely to do it and stick with it. And you're going to see better results and you're going to feel a lot better too doing it that way. All right, so that's number two. And then number three is it's going to save you time and effort by having a key solution to knowing exactly what to do in a done for you program, right? So if you have your coach make you a program, you're gonna save all that time going through Instagram, YouTube, Google, right? All over the place using different search engines, and you're just gonna have that program set for you. You're gonna learn how to do it properly. And then like if you feel yourself getting tight again, like 3 months from then, even if you're not working with a coach anymore, you have that in your toolbox and you can use that in the future. And that's why education is so important. So if you have a coach and you're not happy with him or her and you're not getting educated, like that's a red flag. I suggest you find a different one so you can learn and grow and change and then hit your goals a lot quicker too. Okay, so that is it for tonight. Again, cookie cutter mobility programs aren't good because you're going to waste a ton of time going on Instagram, YouTube, and Google. You're going to be inconsistent because you're not paying a lot for the program, so there's less skin in the game, meaning you're going to be more likely to drop off, possibly get injured, or just not be able to get to your goals. And then number three, it's going to take up too much of your time, right? You're going to waste a lot of time in exercises that you don't really need to be doing. And you're not going to understand either. You have no education from a program you just buy that gives you random exercises that say, oh, this worked for him, this will work for you. It's not how it works. It's very complex, guys. Joints are very complex. The human body is complex, so you need sometimes a complexer, it's not even a word, a more complex type program, right, to fit your needs and everything. All right. So guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Like and subscribe, hit that kind of comment button below and leave us a comment. And we will see you in next week's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night.